Hey everyone, it's Ashley, your pet content creator coach. I'm actually really pumped for this video because of the fact that I know so many of you come to me and say, hey, I saw this piece of advice on YouTube or on a blog post. Is this still relevant? Like, should I still follow this advice? And what I'm gonna tell you in this video, I'm gonna be going through 5 specific tips that I keep seeing people give as advice that literally don't work anymore. Okay, so I have been a content creator for over 6 years now in actually multiple niches, and specifically, I help coach pet influencers. But unfortunately, what people keep doing is they understandably go to YouTube, they go to Google, and they type in, tips to increase views, increase followers, increase engagement, things like that. And unfortunately, there are a lot of antiquated, and when I mean antiquated, I'm talking like even 2 years ago advice that is given, yet it just doesn't work anymore. And so with that said, let's start with the very first thing that I keep seeing pushed and recommended that honestly just doesn't work. And that is being super nice. Now, okay, yes, it's always important to be nice in the comments when you're replying to someone. And it's important to be nice when you are like creating your content. But let's be honest, I want you to actually consider something different than just being nice. What I have been seeing, and this is literally something as of 2025, there are a few content creators in the past like 6 to 8 months that I've specifically gotten to work with, and I've seen their changes and their growth and everything that really have had a distinctive difference in their views and in their engagement, and especially in the brand deals that they have gotten compared to others who are still stuck in their, say, the 20 to 2022 type of style of content. Now, what they are doing, these ones that are doing really well, is they are extremely authentic. Now, a lot of people are extremely nice, right? We want to have a very feel-good experience. We want the audience member, the viewer, to have a good experience, whether that is having your funny content, your entertainment content, your, cute dog, cat content. But what I keep finding is that literally recently, like this year, the content that is more authentic, that is less structured, less edited, so you're not adding on stickers and GIFs and filters and effects, those types of content is actually doing significantly better. Now, what's really funny is back in like 2019 era is actually when the real authentic content started doing exceptionally well. That was when like TikTok was exploding, right? That time. But then it became really structured, filtered, specifically outlined content that did really well. And now we're actually reverting back. So if you're really intentional about your storytelling with your content, and you're really intentional with trying to make your content very authentic and just funny, entertaining, but not super structured. Again, that's like not putting on tons of text, not putting on tons of stickers and fonts and colors and all these different things. That's actually doing significantly better now. Now, the second tip that I want to give you that is really becoming an antiquated thing is very structured voiceovers. So I see this, unfortunately, still all the time. And this actually ties into the first one because we want your voiceover to sound so authentic that it sounds like you're not reading anything. So as I am recording this video, I literally do not have a teleprompter. I mean, I am just talking to a camera, and it is what it is. Like, it is more authentic than if I had typed all this out or had AI type all this out and I had it uploaded to a teleprompter and I was reading just from it. And as someone who has done literally, over 100 brand deals by this point, yes, I can very distinctly tell which companies are better to work with than others because some of them love to have authenticity and others love to have very specific scripting. And I hate the very specific scripting because it just doesn't sound authentic. And because of the fact that audience members, you and I, people who watch and consume content, we can tell if a video is an ad really fast. And because of that, the more authentic your content, as in just the more relatable, the more real, the less edited, right? We just talked about that. The more that style of content that your videos, and even videos, sure, in stories, but your video content is, the more likely people are not going to see it as you trying to be salesy, trying to push an affiliate code, trying to push a way that you're selling your stuff or trying to make money off people. We all know that you're trying to make money. That is kind of the whole point of being a pet influencer. As I'm talking about these different tips, When we go into this third one, this is actually something that I have tried so hard. I really have tried so hard to tell you guys through my content here, through the online courses. I have 2 online courses that I say this all the time. And yet I keep saying this. And that is, you guys have to stop asking for subscribers. And I know that for some of you, you may think, okay, I've heard that tip. Or others of you are like, wait, but I literally just watched a few videos or read some articles that said one of the tips to get more followers is to just hit the subscribe button, right? There are so many big YouTubers who pound that thumbs up, or, they have something quirky like that. And yeah, that used to work. I swear to you. How many times, literally think to yourself, how many times just recently in the past month that someone said, and don't forget to subscribe, hit that subscribe button. Then you see, a pop-up, a GIF, something pop up, subscribe. And then you subscribed. I mean, honestly, I actually highly doubt that it was that often, because we all know how to subscribe. Obviously, if you're watching this video, you know how this works. But what I want you to consider is the fact that people will subscribe if they get value out of your content. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in this video. But seriously, if they get value out of the content, if there's a reason for them to watch your content and to watch more of your content because they like your style, they like the character, your pet, they like you, something like that. If they like you, they're going to subscribe. If they don't, and they're not getting enough value out of your content, they're not going to subscribe. So by you asking does not have a good return on investment. And now it is also considered very unprofessional. So please keep that in mind, especially not just here on YouTube, but seriously, especially over on Instagram and TikTok. It just doesn't work. Okay, listen, number 4. I talk a lot about AI. I personally love utilizing AI as a content creator and especially as a coach, be able to help me create my materials and help me brainstorm. However, I have a lot of experience using AI because I do use it every day, and not just like ChatGPT, but I use multiple different versions of AI, whether it's illustrative or if it's just more idea generation. I use a lot on a lot of different platforms. And I say all that to say, for those of you who don't have a lot of AI experience and you use AI to write an email to a brand asking for a collaboration, or let's say that you use AI to create a voiceover for a branded video, you use it to create thumbnails, whatever way that you use AI. And if you are a very beginner to utilizing AI, I encourage you to please do not copy paste or use exactly what AI gives you. So this tip, yes, last year AI was exploding. Everyone was so excited about AI. People are able to tell right away if you used AI. I can tell. I look at my emails every day and I get a lot of emails between my multiple cat accounts, my multiple businesses. So it's a lot. And I say that because I open up my email and I know right away which emails are created by AI. Especially, I know which ones are created by ChatGPT. ChatGPT has its unique style that I can just tell, again, right away. And again, to say all that, whereas you might feel like a pioneer by utilizing AI to create your script for a branded video or to create an email template to reach out to a brand. I get it. However, it's just important to realize that I always recommend using AI for help, for idea generation, but whatever it gives you, tweak it. Just tweak it, because the algorithms are starting to know what content is created through AI. And as consumers, people are going to just catch on. So that was tips of 2024, but now in 2025, you need to be as authentic as possible. We talked about that, but you need to make sure you're as original as possible, because all that ties us in to number 5. Number 5 is related to pretty much everything I've talked about so far, and it ties it all together in a unique way. So this 5th tip, I struggle with this as a content creator coach. Yes, as someone with over 1 million followers on my channels, I understand the value of having a lot of subscribers. I do. I also understand the value of having a lot of engaged followers. So back to 2023 era was when rapid growth was very possible. I mean, hell, you could literally post a video, get 20 million views, and then all of a sudden have 50,000 followers or subscribers, and then all of a sudden be able to make $1,000 per video. I mean, it was just crazy. But that is not exactly the reality of today. Yes, I have personally worked with, and I know a few creators right off the top of my head right now who have been able to achieve that type of growth literally the past 8 months. It is still real. However, the frequency of and the reality of almost anyone being able to do that and have that level of growth is not necessarily the real deal anymore. I have worked with more creators recently who have struggled with growth compared to exploded with growth. A few years ago, it literally was opposite. It was more real to be able to post less and have big growth compared to now. The big focus is on engagement and not exploding a ton. So when it comes to brand deals, you may have heard me say this before if you frequent my channel, but brands care more about your engagement than just your followers. Yes, followers are important. I believe it's important. The type of content that you want to get paid for, though, doesn't necessarily depend on your follower count. As you can tell from this channel alone, I have at this time, 2,000 followers? Like, it's nothing totally crazy by any means, especially compared to my channels with over 1 million followers. However, the way that you monetize and being strategic about your content is really important. Focusing on just hyper growth is not the way to be able to approach channels now. Trying to make every video super viral is not a good long-term growth plan. Now that's what we're talking. I always talk about long-term growth because with long-term growth, you can create a business out of this. You can create predictable income out of this. And you can literally be able to predict if you can go down to like part-time work or even make this your full-time job. If you're just focusing on hyper virality, that is not a long-term growth plan. Trust me. I have seen content creation just evolve insanely amount in just the past 6 years. I mean, it's a whole different space here in 2025 compared to 2019. And so with that in mind, you cannot predict what life is going to be like here in the digital space in 5 years. So if you're just focusing on, boom, I want super fast growth, and you're not focusing on the engagement and authenticity of your channel and of your audience, like being able to monetize off of a very passive audience is a horrible long-term growth business plan. Trust me. So as I've already hinted at, the biggest things I would rather here in 2025 and beyond that I would rather you focus on is your supreme authenticity, just coming out as a real person. Okay, real quick, honestly, as a creator, and I have experienced this myself and I've seen and heard of this story countless times, it's always the content that you spend less time on planning, less time on researching, creating voiceovers, editing especially, that actually seems to do most well. Why? And that's almost always because it appears to the audience viewer as just more relatable, more authentic, more real. And so that concept is super important to keep in mind. So if you're interested in diving more into the concept of being a pet influencer, which is like obviously my niche, then I do have a handful of free resources down below. So make sure to check that out in the comments and in the description. With that said, I'll see y'all in the next video.